Okay, so let us begin. So in the previous class, uh, as part of registration and login page that we created, that we are about to create, we have done registration part, created the registration page. The registration page name is register.php. Okay? Now, and we have seen how session will be created, but not completely, because during registration session will not be created, but during login a session will be created. Okay. So we are supposed to see the login page now. This login page is index.php file. And once you successfully log into that page, you will be redirected to the home page. And that home page name is home.php. Okay. And once you are there in home page, if you want to log out, you have logout.php. So these three we need to discuss. Then we'll complete both sessions and database connectivity. We'll be left over with file handling. Now let us go to that index.php file. So as I told you earlier, if you want to use sessions in a PHP page, you need to write the PHP script at the top, and you need to begin with the first statement by calling this function session underscore start. Okay. Once you are done with this, then you can use sessions in your PHP file. Without calling this function, you cannot create sessions. Okay. So once you call that function, now please I am including the dbconnect.php file, so that that code in the dbconnect.php will be replaced in this statement. That means this statement will be replaced by that code in the dbconnect.php file. Okay. So you know the code for dbconnect.php we have already discussed. Let me show it once again. I'll just show it. I'm not going to explain it. Okay. So we are establishing a connection, and if you are able to connect, then nothing will happen. Otherwise, it will display a message, the connection problem, and display the reason for the connection. Okay. Then this code will be substituted here. After that, what I am doing is whether I am checking whether a session with the name user has been created or not by passing session $_session super global array. So I told you in the previous class that when you create a session, an entry will be created, and just like for a cookie, there will be a name and value associated with this. Similarly, for a session also there will be a name and value associated for that. Okay, so you can give the name and value manually in your PHP script. So I'll show you that also. If $_session of user, an entry with name user is created in $_session super global, and if it is not equal to empty, that means blank space. Okay, then what is going to be returned by this? We are writing this isSet function. It is beginning here, the parenthesis for isSet function. It is ending here, right? So I'm checking whether that isSet function is returning true or false. So this will return true if that session user is created already. If it is set, if it is empty, then it is going to return false. So if it is not returning false, means if it is returning true, if it is returning true not equal to empty, then we are going to call this header function, pass this home.php file. So when this is going to happen is this not being empty, only when a session user has been created. If it is not created, a session entry with a name user is not created, then this will become false. Okay. So let us assume that because we have not logged in. So when this session will be created means only when you log in. I have written the code below the bottom in such a way that session variable will be created only after successful verification of the user ID and password given by the user in the login page. And when you compare that user credentials with the already stored values in the database, when both of them are matching, then only this user session will be created. So otherwise it will be empty. So because you didn't log in yet, when you open this page, automatically this PHP script, because it is at the top of the page, this script gets executed. And by the time the script gets executed, you are not logged into that page. So this will return false. So as a result, this if statement will if block will not be executed and will not be redirected to home.php file. Okay. Then this part will be executed if is set $_post of btn log. So to understand this PHP script, let us go to the bottom where we have created the form for login page. So this is a form where we are beginning. So this form, what is it doing? It is taking one input type is equal to text where you are supposed to enter your email ID, and then another input field for giving your password. Okay, and look at the name attribute values, email and pass. So because the form method is post, an entry will be created for both these fields in the $_post with the name, email and pass. So their values will be whatever value that is entered by the user in this text field and password respectively. So when you submit this form, what will happen? Entries will be created in $_post. So what we need to do is we need to check whether $_post is created or not, an entry is created or not. Along with that text field for entering your email and password, even the submit button also has a name attribute value btn-login. So for this also an entry will be created. So if this is created, then $_post of btn login will be set, and this isSet function is going to return true. So when this isSet function is going to return true only after submitting the sign in form, login form, right? If you have not submitted the page, just you have opened that page but you didn't enter anything and click on the sign in button, then what will happen? This will return false. After you enter some details or before or without entering, if you try to click on sign in, then the page will give a different way. But if you submit it after entering the values, then this is going to return true, right? So once this is returning true, then this if block gets executed. If block is beginning here, even this else part is also part of that if block. Okay, till here it is if block. So what is going to happen in the if block we have written? Just like in registration page, how we have used this function to eliminate all those extra characters and all. Now we are using the same thing to remove all the additional things and store it in this variable $email, right? So for this we need to pass $con, a connection variable, because this is available in dbconnect.php and we have included this one already into our page. So this will be a valid variable, and then from where you are extracting that email from $_post of email, so that you need to pass a second parameter, and the resulting value will be stored in $email. Similarly, to retrieve the password also I am doing the same thing, $_post of pass. So the password will be stored in $upass variable. Then so now that we have retrieved both email and password that is entered by the user in the login page and stored them in these variables respectively, $email and $upass variables, next thing is we need to execute the query. That means what? We need to compare this email and password with the already stored email and password values in the table of the database, which is done during registration. So during registration you have given an email and password, right? that is stored in the table of a database. So we need to extract that value, those two values, email and password values, from the table of the database, and then compare that email extracted from the database with the email that is entered in the login. So for your convenience, let me write it in this page here. So what must be equal? Email in login page must be equal to, must be same as email the database table entered during registration. Similarly, password also the same thing applies, right? Password in login page must be same as password in the database table entered during registration. These two, right? So the in the login page, whatever email we have given, we have stored in which variable? Dollar email and password in dollar upass, right? So dollar email, so is a variable which contains the email entered in the login page, the login page. Similarly, dollar upass, the password entered in the login page, right? So till here it is clear. So now let us go and establish connection with the database and then retrieve the email and password from the table matching with this email, because email is the primary key or unique key. I think it is unique key. So you can extract a single unique record from the table matching with that email ID that is entered in the login page, right? So to execute the query, we have the MySQL underscore query function. So we need to make a call to this function. This is going to return a value which is nothing but after upon successful execution of the query, it will return the one record from table and store that record in the variable res, right? So for this function, first we need to pass the connection variable $con, then comma. Second parameter is nothing but the query that you want to execute on the database table. So my query is, I know the table where the user's data is entered during registration. The table name is users. So select star from users, where email is one of the field is equal to $email. Where is our email ID that we entered in the login page available in $email, right? Just before I've shown you. This is the email that we entered in the login page. So this, there must be a match with a table record where the email ID is equal to the email ID that is entered in the login page. This is the email ID that is entered in the login page. So I'm giving this value, the value of email field in the table. So if there is a match, then that is going to return that record, and that will be stored in res variable. Then next step, what I am doing is I'm converting this record into an associative array, because if I want to refer to each and every individual column of the table, I'll not be able to access it directly using this $res variable, right? So I need to retrieve all the field values. How many fields are there in the table? Four fields are there: user ID, email ID, uh, password, and what is the other one? Something else we have given. We open that PHP my admin. This is the table, and this is the database name is registration, and table is user. So user ID, username, email, and password. Okay. User ID, username, email, and password. So we are retrieving all the four fields. All the four fields will be retrieved and stored in this RES. Now what we need to do is we need to create an associative array which contains four entries exactly that are in the table. So this array that you are going to create, that is going to be created by this MySQL underscore fetch underscore associate array. This function we need to pass that record retrieved from the table as parameter. And this is going to return as an associative array that will be stored in $row. So now $row is a associative array. It contains entries. The entry names will be same as that of the table column values. So table you have first user ID, right? So this will be the first one, and next one is username. These are the field names in the table of the database. And next one is email. Last one is password, right? So these values will be exactly as they are in the table. For example, let us say we'll take this record, right? So then for this record, user ID is 7, an integer value, and user name is Rishit. Email ID is rishit@gmail.com. Password that will not be visible to us because it is encrypted password. Fine. So these are the values. So what we'll do is now we'll go into this index page. So you have $row array which contains four these entries. We need to compare them. What we need to compare only the email and passwords because these two must be matching exactly during login page. So I'm comparing if $row of password. So $row of password means this one is already stored in the table database. So this should be equal to what? The upass. Upass is nothing but the uh, password that is entered in the login page. So both of them must be matching. This is the password that is entered during registration. This is the password that is entered during the login. So both of these must match. So I'm comparing $row of password, which is from the extracted from the table, and with the $upass, which is given now in the login. But because in the database, the password is encrypted using MD5 algorithm and stored, so now the user will be giving normal non-encrypted password. He'll not be encrypting the password, right? He doesn't know about all those things. So he'll be giving whatever password he has given. That password he'll be giving. So we need to convert this password that is entered in the login page also into encrypted password by using the same MD5 algorithm. So the MD5 algorithm, what it does is this function here, it will it will encrypt the password into a same encrypted ciphertext when you give the same characters again and again. So already it is encrypted password. So now when you encrypt the same password, that also will be the same as the encrypted password that is done during the registration. So that's why we need to do MD5 algorithm. So if you don't use this MD5 algorithm and directly compare with $upass without MD5, then there will not be a matching because you are trying to compare the encrypted password in the database with the non-encrypted password that you entered in the login form, right? So we need to carefully encrypt the login page password also now, and then compare it with the table password which is already there. So if both of these are matching, right, already email has matched because we have extracted that record from the table only when the email is matching with this query, right? So already email has been matched. Now password also will match. If the password is matching, then what is happening here? We are doing this one in the if block. We are creating a session by using the session $_session super global array and creating an entry called user, and its value is set to $row of user ID. $row of user ID means what? User ID is nothing but this one 7. We have extracted it from the table, right? So this value is assigned to $_session of user. So now this will not be empty. The session variable has been created. Then after doing that, after the session user session is created, now we'll redirect the user to this page by calling the header function and passing the location value as home.php, right? Else, if the password is not matching because by mistake or somebody else is trying to access your account by giving a password, try with the password, then the password will not match, then the else block will be executed. So what is else block is doing? It is alerting the user with a JavaScript alert box, wrong details. Okay, so let us assume that it is matching. So as a result, what will happen? A session variable with name user is created and its value is set to. So let me write here session variable created as $_ session of user, and its value is set to what? This is the value extracted from the user ID field of table. Okay. Now that this is created, after creating the session variable, then you are redirecting to home.php. So what is there in home.php? Let us go and see what is there in home.php. So this is home.php file, and here also we are writing the script at the beginning and making a call to session_ start function, then including the dbconnect.php file as we have done it in the registration and login page as well. So after doing this, what I'm doing is I'm checking whether the session user variable has been set or not. Right? If it is set, when we pass this $_session of user to is set function, this is going to return true. Otherwise, it is going to return false. But I'm negating it. So if this is set function is returning false, what does it indicate? We have not logged in, because only when you log in with the correct credentials, then only session variable is being created. Otherwise, session will not be created, right? In the index page, what is happening? Only when the password is matching, then only this if block gets executed, and as a result, session variable will be created. If the password is not matching, then we'll go to the else block. We'll never go to the if block. If you are not going to the if block, then what is the meaning of it? No session variable is created, right? So when you come to this home page, we are checking whether the session variable has been created or not. If it is created already, then you will be staying back in this home.php file. Otherwise, if it is not created, then in that case this set function is going to return false, and when that is negated by using the not operator, it becomes true, and then this if block gets executed, and this if block making a call to the header function and mentioning the location value as index.php, that is a login page. That means to try to go to home page without logging in with your credentials, then what is that home page going to do? It is not going to allow you to access that content. Instead, it is going to redirect you back to login page, ask you to log in with your credentials. So this should happen if any person tries to directly access the home page, because he knows the URL, and he'll just enter at the end of the URL home.php file. Then you'll come to this PHP page, but this PHP page it will send back you to index.php file, because you are not logged in and session is not created. the session is created, then this is going to return true. This is set function, right? So when the session is created, only when the user enters the correct email and password value, then only the session will be created, right? So in that case, this is set function is going to return true, and that true is negated to false by using the not operator. Then this if block will not be executed. If this is not executed, then the remaining statements will be executed. The remaining statements, what you're doing is you're executing a query, MySQL underscore query, same $con variable, and this time I'm giving I'll select star from users where user ID is equal to the session value that we created, the 7 we have stored in dollar underscore session of user, the 7. So this matching user record will be retrieved again from the table, and it will be stored in $res. Then again I'm converting into associative array. This time the associative array name is user row, $user row. So it will have same fields, same entries, just like we had them in the dollar row. Only the name of the array is changing. The field names are same. The entries are same, right? So matching with this. Earlier we have retrieved this record uh, by executing a query where email is matching with this one. Now we have retrieved the same record where user ID is matching with this 7. That is, which is stored in dollar underscore session of user. So in both the cases, the same record will be retrieved. So when that record is retrieved, we are storing it in dollar user row in this index home.php. Right? So now, after doing this, what we are doing after retrieving that and storing in row, this is index space. After storing it in dollar user row variable, what we are doing is, are we doing anything here? We are not doing anything, but the HTML code after the title in the body section, we have created some divisions. So a header division is created at the top of the page, and that header division has again two parts, left part uh, and right part. Okay. So in the left part, I am displaying a label VJIT, and in the right part, what I am doing is I'm using another division and writing this hello message, and after hello, this PHP script echo statement is executed. What is this PHP script doing? It is echoing dollar user row of username. What is dollar user row of username? It contains whatever username you have given in the table. Username is what? Rishit, right? So it will display a message, hello Rishit. Then after that, I am giving one space. Then after that space, an anchor tag is displayed. Ahref is equal to, and what is that link? Sign out link. And when you click on this sign out, you will be redirected to this link, logout.php, followed by a question mark. So when will you get a question mark after the page name? Only when the method is get, right? Method is get. So now when the form is submitted, uh, that form will be submitted to some other PHP file or the same PHP file. So if you are sending it to that another PHP file, then we say that submission as a request, and that request will be either post request or get request depending on whether the form method is post or get. So without using the form also, if you want to send a get request by using an anchor tag, you can do that by giving a question mark after the href value. So we are supposed to go to logout.php file, and after that mentioning that file name, give a question mark and mention a parameter name logout. I'm specifying. So what will be there after the question mark in the query string of a method is equal to get? When method is get, you will have the parameter name is equal to its value. If there are multiple parameters, then parameter name is equal to first parameter name is equal to its value, and then ampersand. Second parameter name is equal to its value, and similarly so on up to how many parameters are there, that many parameters and their values. Now here I'm just mentioning the parameter name here after the question mark. So this will become a get request, So this parameter will be created in dollar underscore get super global array because the method will be get. Okay. So this logout sign out link when it is clicked on, so you will be redirected to logout.php file. Okay. So now you are currently in home.php file. You have successfully logged into the home page in your account and you are redirected to the home page. And at the home page, in the home page, at the top of your home page on the right side, you are getting this hello and your username. And then beside that, you will get the sign out link. When you click on the sign out link, you will be redirected to the logout page. And in this home page, whatever other links or anything content you want to share, uh, display, that is displayed in this division at the bottom. So let us not discuss about this. Depending on application that you are using, this home page may contain anything that is required for your as per your requirement in the application. But now here, what we are doing, we are not displaying something anything in the home page. I am just showing you how to create a registration page and login page. And after successfully logging in, you need to go to a home page. There a welcome message will be there, and if it is a real-time application, some content will be displayed. If it is a Facebook, for example, your timeline will be displayed, and all the other things will be displayed. Your groups, Facebook groups that you are member in, all your photos, everything will be displayed on the page, right? And some links also will be there. If you click on that link, then again from that home page, you will go to another page. So every application will have at least at least a home page, and other than home page, there may be some other pages also. But here we are just trying to understand how to create registration and login system. So I didn't include more pages after you log in. From the home page, you will not be moving to any other page. Two pages I have created: update profile.php and view profile.php, but they are not working completely. Just for showing you that we can do this way and displaying this one. Our motive here is to understand how to create a registration and login and then sign out, log out. So when you sign out, what we need to do is we need to uh, delete that session that we created in the home page, the login page. In the login page, we have created a session, right? That session user must be deleted once you log out. So that will be done in logout.php. So let us go and see what is there in logout.php. That logout.php will be accessed through a get request by passing logout as parameter. Let me show you that logout.php file. So this is the logout.php file. Here also you need to make a call to session underscore start function. Then next step is what I am doing is in the if statement I'm passing dollar underscore use session of user to reset function, and because it is already created and available, what is it going to do? It is going to uh, this reset function is going to return true. So if it is returning true, right? This is returning true, then this will become because you are negating it. So will this if block execute? It will not be executed, right? Else if is set of dollar underscore use session of user not equal to empty. So if it is destroyed, before destroying, we'll remove that value for that user session variable. It will be left empty. If it is not equal to empty, that means if it is there, something else is there, then this is going to return true, right? In that case, you are going to call location home.php. You will be redirected to home.php, right? But none of these will be executed because already session has been created and it is still there. So this will not be executed. This part will be executed. This part will be executed if is set of dollar underscore get of logout, because we have sent we have come to this logout.php file with a get request. So there will be an entry created in dollar underscore get with its entry name as logout. So this will be returning true, and as a result this if block will be executed because this has been created, the parameter is created, an entry has been created, this is set function is going to return. So creating an entry is different and assigning some value is different. If you create an entry, if a value is created, then it will we say that it is not empty. An entry has been created but a value is not assigned, then we say it is empty. Okay, so that's why we are checking here. If it is empty, we need to compare it with a double quote opened and closed immediately, which means it is empty. But the entry has been created, it is still existing in dollar underscore session super global array. Okay, so what I'm doing is, if this is going to return true, when this is going to return true, if you click on logout sign out hyperlink in the home page, then this will be created, right? So this is true, that means if the user has clicked on the sign out link, then this will become true, and as a result if block will be executed. When this is executed, what is that I'm doing in the first statement, I'm making a call to session underscore destroy, right? So this function is a predefined PHP function which is going to destroy the session that is created earlier, right? So this function must be called first, and then there is another predefined function called unset function, which is going to remove the entry from the dollar underscore session super global array. So whichever entry name you want to delete, that entry name you have to specify here. So I want to delete the entry in the dollar underscore session super global array with its name as user. That will be deleted. So when this is deleted, the session dollar underscore session user will no longer be existing. Then after doing that destroying and then unsetting the session variable, then you are redirecting the page to index.php. That means once you log out, the session will be destroyed and the session variable that is created earlier will be unset, and then you will be redirected to the login page so that another user can log in again, right? But what is the use of this part? This is useless, you may think, but this is useful because sometimes without logging in, without clicking on the sign out page also, you may try to come out of that page by directly giving the URL at the end of the URL logout.php. If you give, if you come in that way, then this will be useful. Okay, so if the user tries to come to this page that way without clicking on the sign out page, if he tries to come out to the logout page directly, then you'll come to this one, because the get request will not be done, so the session will not be created, and in that case what will happen is this will become true and you will be logged out and sent to index.php file. If you are already logged in and you are trying to come into the logout page, then this will be redirecting you to the home.php. If you are not logged in and trying to come to logout.php file, this will redirect you back to index.php file. If you are logged in and without clicking on sign out button, sign out link, you are trying to come to logout.php file directly, then in that case you will be redirected back home page because you are still logged in. So you have to come to logout page only by clicking on the sign out link, right? So this is how you need to create a login registration and login system. And once you successfully do that in the home page, whatever you want, you can display. Okay. I hope you understood session. Session, to create a session and use them. What we need to do, we need to use dollar underscore session super global array and create entries into that. Also, to use these sessions in every page of your application, you need to make a call to session underscore start function at the beginning. And when you want to destroy them in the logout page, then you need to make a call to session underscore destroy function. And to unset the session variable and its value, we need to call the unset function. Okay. So this is how a login and registration system can be created. Now that you understood how to create a registration and login page, you can create any kind of application. You can create any kind of application. A complete project you can develop in PHP now. With, if you have followed the classes from the beginning without missing anything, then you can create a complete application using sessions and database access and everything you can do. Fine. Is that clear? Any doubts you can raise? Nobody is responding. text me if you doubt, if you don't have any doubts, or if you have any doubts also, you can text me here. If there are no doubts, then text no. నీకు ఫోన్ అవసరం లేదు, డైరెక్ట్ వినబడుతుంది. ఓకే. Oh, Tarun, I'm getting this answer from Tarun. Fine. Dheeraj, నీవు పేరు, I need to call your specific names, like parentum. Then only you'll respond. Otherwise, you'll not respond. I told you to change your attitudes.